Courage isn't about fearlessness. It's about taking action despite that the fear is there. And many of us live our lives limited and not being able to grow because of the fear that we face all the time. My name is Mark, and I'm doing a new series on our YouTube channel for men to supplement what Jody and I are already doing. You know, I think back on my life and I think of courage and fear and how many times fear came into play in my life that limited me on the things that I wanted to do. Now, my dad was a Marine, so he had more courage in him than I had in my little pinky. I was afraid of everything. I stuttered. I bit my nails from when I got teeth into the age of 50. This fear just overtook my life in every single aspect. So I had to work really hard in many places in my life to have the courage I needed to grow, to build a business, to get married, to have the courage to get married, to raise my children, to, I don't know, learn how to ski. I was a really bad athlete in school, so I couldn't really play soccer. My dad wanted me to wrestle because he wrestled, and I got my ass kicked every time I got on the mat. Terrible at baseball. I was afraid of getting hit by the ball. I would cry, and my dad would always say to me, "Stop your crying, or I'll give you something to cry about." It was hard. I mean, I loved my dad. He was a great dad. I wish he was here today to see what I'm doing. But gosh, fear does creep into our lives in so many ways, and it can be really hard. I get that. Now, I don't know where in your life fear shows up and where you have to have courage to bang through that fear, but fear looks like the fear of failure. So we're worried about whether at work or personal goals or leadership. What if I fail? What if I decide I'm going to take that new job and now I have 100 people reporting to me? What if I fail? And it's these fears that creep in. And then we have to have the courage to make these tough decisions. Fear of vulnerability, that's the biggest one for me. For me, really having the courage to talk to my wife, to talk to my kids, to talk to you, and open up and share with you where I'm struggling, where I need help, where I could use some assistance to get through a tough time. As a young man growing up with my dad, he said, men don't cry. Men are tough. You've got to be the survivor. You've got to be the one to lead the family. You've got to set the example. There was all this pressure, and it was really hard, and I didn't really have any training. Now, I look at myself now at 67, and I've failed at so many things, but that failure made me stronger. And I guess the one thing my dad taught me as a Marine is, you fail, it's okay. You don't want to repeat the mistake twice, but pick yourself up and do what you need to do to get it done. I've had fear for a year to do this first video for men. You might laugh because Jody and I have done, 400 videos together. I do a video 5 days a week on my phone on Instagram for 90 seconds. I do a reel every single day just about. But this video really got me nervous. I don't know why. I just didn't have the courage to get on here alone and not have Jody next to me to support me to get through this. But here I am. And you know what? It feels pretty damn good. I didn't, as I say to people, no one got killed. I didn't die by doing this video. But this fear of vulnerability, gosh, that's a tough one. And there's a link below from my book, and it's the second chapter. The first chapter is on listening. The second chapter is vulnerability. And as men, we're not taught how to be vulnerable. We're not taught how to cry. Another fear that creeps up all the time is the fear of rejection. Whether it's romantic or social or parenting. We all want to be loved, right? So if you go out on a limb and you take a chance and do something, what if you're rejected? What if you're rejected by your friends? What if I get invited on a golf trip, my first golf trip, 7 other guys, I have an opening, and they invite me? I was so damn nervous. What if they don't like me? I mean, they know me a little bit, but now we're together for 4 days. And it took courage for me to do that. And that's what you guys got to think about. Where in your life are you struggling? Where do you need some more courage? Because You know, the other fear that creeps in all the time is fear of losing control over your emotions, your finances, your identity. Like, who am I now? For 38 years, I was the CEO of the Rollins Insurance Agency. That was my identity. That's how I identified myself. My identity was Mark Rollins, but because I worked for so long in the same job, I was so afraid of selling my company and then retiring, because who was I going to be? I knew who I was. I was comfortable who I was. I got really good at what I was doing, working in the insurance business. And then I decided I want to walk away from it. And if you had asked me 5 years ago when I left in 2018, would I be doing videos? The answer would have been no. I thought I'd be sitting on the beach, having pina coladas, taking it easy, maybe mentoring somebody. But it took the courage for my brother and I to sell the company. We stayed for 5 more years, and then the courage to step away into something. And my life is so much better now because of the courage I had to make those moves. You know, another place where fear comes in, and it takes courage, is just fear of transitions. You know, when I decided that my first marriage after 25 years needed to end, and I needed to tell my wife, and I needed to tell my 3 children, it was a devastating day for me. And I practiced what I needed to do. I figured, how am I going to do this without breaking everyone's heart? And there's no easy way to do it, right? You have to be thoughtful and kind and all that. But I was so afraid of doing it. And I think back on that time, and I thought my life was over. I mean, I cried for 2 days. And now, gosh, you know, we still have a relationship with my ex-wife. She was here in Florida at Christmas. We speak when we need to about the kids. Jody gets along with her great. We've really included her in part of the family, and the kids always came first during the divorce, but I was so scared of that, afraid of retiring, afraid of getting divorced. So, you know, that changes are hard. The other thing that fear comes in is fear of judgment. None of us want to be judged, right? You don't want to be out with your friends and you say something to them, you open up, you get the courage to be vulnerable with one of your friends. And this happened to me recently. And he kind of laughed at me. And he said, I don't know why you're telling me that. That's really none of my business. You need to work that out by yourself. Now, I need to speak to other men or other women or my children about the things that are on my mind so that I can get through them. The worst thing we can do as humans, and really as men, is to hold this stuff in and not share it with somebody. But this fear of being judged stops me in my tracks all the time. I don't know what it does for you and how you feel about that, but no one really wants to be judged. I was on the phone this morning with my buddy John. I'll call him John to hide his identity, but his name is actually John. And he recently stopped drinking. And he's having the same struggle that I had when I stopped drinking. People want to know, what happened? Did you get arrested? Did your wife tell you to stop drinking? Did you have a DWI? Did you have an accident? Are you going to AA? He stopped for the same reason I am. He doesn't like how he feels. He's been clean. He's been not drinking for a month. I've been not drinking for a month. Last year I had 17 glasses of wine because I track it. But John recently was in a bar and he said to the bartender, I'll have I forget what he drinks, Athletica non-alcoholic, please. And the guy's like, oh no, here we go, another one. What's happening? What are you doing? What's going on in your life? And he says to his wife, let's just go. I don't need this. I'm trying hard to become a better human. I don't want to be judged. Nobody wants to be judged. So, how do we tackle fear? Let me give you 5 ways in which I use to tackle fear. I'll use this video as an example because I've been afraid of doing it for a whole year. So the first thing you want to do is identify your fear. What is it? Write it down, journal about it, break it down. Why are you afraid? What's holding you back? What bad things could really happen to you? And I did, in doing this video, I'm like, well, nothing really bad can happen. And I know how to do this because I've done it 400 times with Jody. I'm just now doing it alone. And I want to do it right now, pat myself on the back. I'm almost done. And I didn't get sick. I didn't throw up. Nobody came in and said you're out of your mind. So identify your fear, write it down, journal about it, write down the things that are holding you back. Then you need to reframe your mindset. Okay, so now I'm not afraid of doing the video. I'm gonna do the video. I'm gonna tell myself that I'm good at doing video because I've done so many, and it's getting rid of the negative thoughts. It's focusing on the growth aspect of what I'm trying to do. So I'm growing right now by doing this video and getting better at it, getting better at doing videos alone. And I want to visualize the success. What will it look like when I'm finished? Identify the fear, journal about it, reframe your mindset, and then take some small, brave steps. For me, outline what I want to talk about. Find a place in the house where I want to do the video. Get the camera set up, turn on the light, speak to a couple people. And I have a coach that helps me with videos. He said, just do it, don't worry about it. So taking some small, brave steps, whatever it is that you're going to work with. So you want to break it down into little pieces. The other thing you need to do is surround yourself with support. If you're struggling with certain areas of your life and you're fearful about doing something, switching jobs, getting divorced, getting remarried, having a tough conversation with your kids, a tough conversation with your wife, get some help. We all have to have at least 1, 2, or 3 people in our lives that we can share these tough moments with. So get a support group that can help you. Maybe join a men's group. I've been in and out of several men's groups in the last 3 years. I actually ran one for a while. I'm even thinking about doing it again, where it's a safe place to share what's going on in your mind. And then, after it's over and you've done it, reflect on it. And how did it go? So I'm going to reflect on this afternoon. I'm going to watch this video again. I'm going to see that, I did okay. Can I get better? Absolutely. I want to get better at this. I want to be able to do more of this, to bring to you some of the topics that I think men really need to hear. And like I said, nobody died during this video, and I feel great about being able to do it. I really pushed through the fear and had the courage to get it done. If you like this video, watch this one next. Don't fear aging. Discover the joy in growing old.